Welcome to a special edition of Let Ali Show You. We're joined by Mazen Hassoun, who's a Syrian in exile for many years. He's a writer as well. And, well, what do you make of this, Mazen?
Well, it is really a great day. It's the day that we have been all waiting for 50 years. Not only we, our generation, but the generation before us, our fathers and uncles. They have been waiting for this for a very long time, and it is really a great day for every Syrian.
So, describe the events of the past 2 weeks when Aleppo, yes, 2 weeks, give or take, I guess, when Aleppo was about to be taken. And the expectation was that, okay, they'll stop at Aleppo and then the reinforcements will come. Or just describe the events for us. What has happened?
Well, the rebels have started an offensive on November 27th, and the aim was actually to take back control of some villages and push back the front lines back to Aleppo. So, according to what I've heard, they didn't actually aim directly for Aleppo itself, for the city itself. The operation was called deterring the repelling the aggression. So, it's a defensive somehow a goal stands behind operation. But yeah, we saw how the Assad regime collapsed, and somehow Syrians knew that this is really the end of the Assad regime, and they were sure of that after Aleppo, and it was 100% going to happen after Hama fall. We all knew that because the Assad regime was worth nothing without Hezbollah and Iran and Russia. There's no Syrian army. There's no Syrian army which was fighting over the past 10 years. Syrian army was destroyed in 2012 or 13. Um, the ones who fought for Assad were Hezbollah and tons of Iranian sectarian militias who came only to save the butcher and slaughter students. And of course, with the help of the Russian warplanes, which destroyed almost all of our country. So without all these allies, Assad had no chance. We all knew that.
So, once Hezbollah was taken out and the Russians were preoccupied, let's say in Ukraine, as you're saying, it collapsed. We are seeing thousands of people being pulled out from under buildings in these prisons, the lead of which is Sadnaya, at the center of it. It's like a city. And you are still, tell us what's going on there specifically.
Well, it is no coincidence that when Sadlaya prison fell, the whole Assad regime fell. Um, Sadnaya is one of the worst prisons in the world, if not in the whole history. Even I am Syrian, and I knew of people who were in Sadnaya. I've read so many books of people who survived Sadnaya or other prisons. My uncle was actually imprisoned for 12 years in Assad's prison. So I have an idea of how cruel these prisons are. But even I was shocked. Even I was shocked and mentally broken after I saw the videos. If you look to the detainees' faces, they are pale. They are so skinny. They are almost walking corpses. No human being can endure this, and no human being can actually inflict such suffering on people. For what? Just because they opposed the regime, just because they said no. There is no punishment in any law and any religions that opponents, political opponents, deserve like this. It was really horrible, and the things that also shocked us that um there are basements that are full of prisoners beneath layers beneath the earth. They were buried, literally buried under the earth. It was really a devastating moment, and I don't think they finished emptying the prisons. I haven't seen news actually today. I really needed to rest, but it is really it's really hell on earth. There are no words that can describe said Naya.
Tell us your story, Mazen. Where are you from in Syria? Um, what do you remember, and how did you end up where you ended up?
Yeah, well, I am from a city called Raqqa, which is in the north of Syria. Um, I fled the country 10 years ago after ISIS announced its caliphate and took over my city because it was really not safe to stay under ISIS. I was a journalist from since back then, and being a journalist under ISIS rule is a death sentence. You can't negotiate with you're dead man if you stay under ISIS rule. But I also lived 17 years under the Assad regime, and it wasn't actually very pleasant for. I was just a kid, but I didn't pick up like my fathers and my uncles and the others who were um, uh, older than me. So it wasn't really funny. It was in a state, in a totalitarian state where they try to ideologize you and makes you follow their ideology. We used to stand every morning at school repeating slogans of Al-Ba'ath Party, of socialism, and even making this Nazi salute, praising. The funny thing is, we were praising Hafiz Assad, not Bashar al-Assad. We were praising his father, even his father is dead like now for 24 years ago. And we after 10 years 20 10 years 15 years after that, we were still praising his father. His ghost never stopped ruling us. He was ruling us from grave. And we weren't actually allowed to call him by his name, just Hafid Assad. If you say just Hafid Assad, then you are in a big trouble. He is the immortal leader, Hafid Assad. So that's actually Syrian. There are no rights. There's no future. It's a regime based on blind loyalty, blind not for the people, not for your nation, blind loyalty not for your people and for your nation, but for the family of Assad. That's how you take the step up, and yeah, that's how you climb the ladder in Assad's Syria, by being a blind loyalist by any means necessary.
But that is now all part of the past. Now you have Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which was the al-Nusra front, Jabhat al-Nusra, at one point in time, affiliated with Al-Qaeda, in control of Idlib, which became the largest concentration of internally displaced Syrians in all of Syria, right? 5 million people in like one area. And from there, you have a movement that is now taken over, swept through. But there are also fears that this is ISIS rebranded. This is Al Qaeda. That that the Americans are whitewashing this. Um, that this is part of a greater Israel agenda that has the backing of Israel. So there are all these fears that are being put out. That and you go on the timeline and you have people actually saying, not realizing that there is this history of 54 years of oppression that has led to this moment, and everyone's jumping in saying, oh, it's doomed. The killing is about to begin. And people that you know, people that you trust online, on social media, everywhere, right? That you respect are saying these things, and you're like, are you kidding me? Are you like, what world are you living in?
Well, we used to say when the revolution started that this revolution reveals the true nature of people. Funny because almost all of these people who are comparing Hayat Tahrir al-Sham or the rebels, they don't even say Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. They generalize to all Syrian rebels and compare them to ISIS. These people are not Syrians. That they never lived in Syria and they never been under ISIS's rule or rebels' rule. They don't know what is ISIS. I'm really shocked by all of these people. They are nothing like ISIS. I've seen ISIS. I've lived under ISIS's rule, and it's nothing compared them.
So what do you think it is? And what do you think it is, Mazen? Like, how do you perceive Jabba, Hayat Sham, about Jolani, and the whole of this idea of rebranding, and putting him in a certain light internationally, making comparisons with Zelensky, for example, putting those two pictures up. So, what's going on in your mind?
I actually have avoided this comparison between Jolani and Zelensky. Well, he's definitely not Jabhat al-Nusra anymore. I also met Jabhat al-Nusra when I was in Raqqa. They were there before ISIS. And this is totally different from Jabhat al-Nusra. Jabhat al-Nusra was Al-Qaeda, was jihadist. Al-Jolani is not a jihadist anymore, at least according to what we are hearing from rebels themselves and from their rhetoric also, and their actions too. Today, the Jolani or Ahmad Shara now, he said that no one is even allowed to prohibit women from wearing anything. So don't even get closer to women or try to impose hijab or anything. That's not a rhetoric of Jabhat al-Nusra. That's not a rhetoric of ISIS. That's not a rhetoric of Al Qaeda. That is definitely something new. But there is a lot of concern when it comes to Jolani. We've seen, as I said, we've seen his actions, we've seen his rhetoric, but we don't know what will happen in the next days or months. If he truly remains true to his words, it's really something that we can't really answer right now. I think I am very optimistic, and I think Jolani is a pragmatic man. He understands that jihadism doesn't work anymore. It's you can't rule uh, 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 an emirates, a state like Taliban in the Middle East. It doesn't work. He knows that very well, and he knows that he can't actually impose this. Jolani can't impose Sharia today in Syria. Okay, he is definitely the strongest part right now in Syria and has a lot of supports, especially after he literally brought down the Assad regime. He had a lot of support, but even then, he can't impose Sharia in Syria. Syrians won't accept this. We have a lot of Christians, we have a lot of Alawites, we have a lot of Durs. Durs took a huge part in this operation. It was not actually an operation led only by Islamists. There was a lot of, there is the whole front, the southern front, which is rebels from Dara, who are former Free Syrian Army factions who had nothing to do with Islamic rhetorics. There is also the Druze. The Druze moved and took action for the first time since 2011. So It's not only a Jolani thing. It's not the Islamists, and he knows that he can't actually fight against all of these people. So I know that there is really concern of the Taliban scenario, but it's not possible. It's not practically possible in Syria right now. People who are saying that they don't really know the Syrian demographic, the Syrian current geopolitics. They don't know this. They are actually speaking emotionally, yeah, and have no and their information is really based on information, an old information from back when Jolani was really a jihadist.
I know you're living like millions of other Syrians outside of Syria. And at this moment, millions of Syrians are wanting to go back or are going back. Are you planning on going back? And if so, like, what's this idea? What's the mindset there?
Well, actually, I tried last week to go to Syria, but I couldn't. The gates were closed, and from what I've heard, no one was allowed. And if you all were allowed, you can't actually get out, and you had to bring a Syrian passport, which I don't have. Eventually, I will come back and settle in Syria. I'm currently at a university studying political science, and as I finish my political science at the university, I will go back and settle in Syria if the situation is improved. I'm definitely going in the coming months. Definitely in March, maybe before. I still don't have the exact date. There are a lot of people who will return right now to Syria, who are right now returning actually from Lebanon, and I don't know if they are returning from Turkey right now, but there are thousands, if not millions, who will return. In Turkey, there is 4 million refugees, and from what I've heard, almost 3 million refugees will return now that Assad is no more. But the thing is, we took down Assad, but the war is not over. There is actually battles right now going between Syrian Democratic Forces and Turkish backed Syrian National Army. So there is still war in Syria. There is still the state questions that needed to be answered. Are they in the future of Syria? Will they negotiate with Fulani or whoever formed the next government? That's a really serious question, which I really have a lot of fun when it comes to that. I really want that everything is over, and I want them to get involved in the new Syrian army and finally unite Syria. Finally, you can go from Idlib to Daraa, from Suwaida to Al Hasaka. We really need that, and when this happens, every Syrian across the world will return. We can't really seriously talk about deportations, and the war is not over. There is no government right now. How countries would coordinate deportations? It's really
The banks are operating, things are moving, there's a transition that's happening. There's a former prime minister that's involved, right? So there's some sort of mechanism of transition that is there, Mazen.
yes, but yes, but it's not stable. You don't have. There are there's the old government which is still operating, but uh, s- over the past 3 days there was really a huge chaos, and we really need a couple of months to uh, secure the land and get everything organized. I think I really I am really upset because of people speaking of deportation right now. Where I am in Germany, there have been a huge debate since yesterday about deporting Syrians, and I think this is really disrespectful. We are just celebrating the fall of the most notorious dictatorship the Middle East has ever seen. We are celebrating the fact that we are w- that there is no more torture, that there is no more bombing, there's no more killing. Give us at least 1 or 3 days to celebrate, and then you can talk about deportations. I think this is really shameful and disrespectful, and no one should talk about deporting Syrians right now. They are all going back home. They are saying that everywhere. But give them a moment, for God's sake, to pick up to breathe some free air.
Tell us more about this, Mazen. What is going on? Like, it's just like yesterday. What is what is this debate again?
Yeah, well, in Germany, they halted the granting the asylum to Syrians today or yesterday. Today, I think. So they are not giving asylum to Syrians anymore, and there was a huge debates between politicians and even in the media that okay, Assad is no more, and now we can deport Syrians. Hey, and these debates came actually before the congratulations to Syrians. It's really outrageous.
I want you to turn towards what Israel is doing as well, very quickly, right? In the in taking Konetra, what's the? It's like they're saying it's only 40 kilometers away from Damascus. The highest peak in Syria they've taken over.
You mean Israel, right?
Israel, yes.
Yeah, well, actually, that was really one of the most concerning things that I've heard over the past since yesterday, since the regime fell. We can't really predict the Israelis' intentions. The news that they are marching towards Konaitra have really opened some wounds in Syrians. We've seen this before. Um, we really don't know what the Israelis want. I think that they want to destroy strategic weapons through their air raids because they have carried over 50, I think 50 airstrikes on Damascus and on Daraa on Daraa and Kunaitra. So they want to destroy every strategic weapon and ballistic missiles that the Syrian army still had, and of course the all the programs of the chemical weapon that because they don't want these strategic weapons to fall under the rebels' hand. That's that's as far as we know, and of course they are right now they are inside the Syrian side. They took control of the buffer zone, which was run by the UN, and I think they are going deeper in Syria. But according to Israeli officials, they are only trying to secure the border, and their operation is actually will stop there. There is no foreign conspiracy. There is no US or Israeli conspiracy to overthrow Assad. Syrians did this by themselves. And I am in contact with Syrian rebels, and they told me that there is no one who is going to do this operation. They did it by themselves, and uh, uh, as soon as they took Hama, Dara was ready to rebel. Wada was ready to rebel. What we've seen in Syria since Thursday or over the past 2 weeks is a new revolution. Everyone who's telling you that this is a fight between Islamist and the government, he doesn't know anything about Syria. He doesn't know Syria. He's never been there. He can't speak for us. What I have seen is a new revolution that everyone uh, Everyone is participating. Even regime soldiers themselves, they dropped their weapons. They didn't want to fight anymore. They didn't want to fight for Assad. A lot of them filmed videos even before Assad fled the country. They filmed and said, "We don't want to fight for him. We are killing our own people. We don't want to fight anymore." It was really a game changing. There was actually a Syrian will that this war have to stop right now.
Well, but I'm sure Turkey and Hakan Fidan will disagree with you that it was all Syrians. I'm sure the Turks played a very, now the foreign minister, his signaling, and you could see with Lavrov, with the Iranians, they were running to the Turks. It was all set up.
Well, I don't you don't trust the Iranians or Russians, and everything they are saying is not a lie. That for sure. We've seen this over the past 15 years. Um, I think Turkey played a huge part, but
People say Israel played a huge part.
I don't think so. I don't think so. The Americans were shocked by the fall of the regime. I think Turkey played a part. They supported, but the thing is, when we say Turkey or any other country played a part or helped, we are not saying that this call was made from outside Syria. It was not made from outside Syria. Okay, there was coordination, but the decision was Syrian made, and especially the last 3 or 4 days. That was not a decision that was made from outside. People rose up. So I think there was a coordination between rebels and Turks. For example, I actually don't think that the Americans pushed for this operation, or even Israel is involved. I think they knew. We all knew that there's an operation is underway. There was actually leaks from rebels themselves, and we knew that there is an operation 2 months or 3 months ago. So if we knew the Americans and the Israelis are also did also know about this, but I don't think that they are who made the call. That's
Who knew,
literally.
who knew what, when is all part of the past. The reality now is that Bashar al Assad is gone, and you have Jolani, a new sheikh that has emerged, a young man who has the respect of, so far at least.
He will disagree with people, I'm sure, right now.
There you go. All right, Mazen Hassoun, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best. And of course, for Syria and for Syrians who've suffered so much, you know, how many millions were outside? 7 million Syrians, 7 to 8 million Syrians were made refugees. 11 to 14 million Syrians were internally displaced. 400, no, half a million Syrians were killed.
Well, I haven't.
We think we don't know. We don't have an exact. No, we don't have an exact count. It could be twice as much, 3 times as much. We don't know. And this is something that will emerge as those prisoners coming out from the depths of those hell-like prisons, detention centers will. Final word, and then
I will final words. First, I hope that the future is bright, and I am very optimistic. Um, don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone. Go and watch the videos. They are online. Go and watch, and you will know why Syrians brought down this regime. Watch the videos coming from Saydnaya, from other detention centers. Watch the joy that and the huge celebrations of millions of Syrians across the world and inside Syria. Watch that, and then come and tell me that this is a ISIS takeover. Watch them. Watch everything. and then build an opinion. And Syria is now free, and I hope the future is bright, and I'm sure it is. It is now for all Syrians to decide their fates, no matter if they are Christians, Alawitis, Kurds, Shia, Sunnis, Druze, Assyrians. It doesn't matter anymore. We are all Syrians right now. It's a new dawn, a new day.
On that note, thank you, Mazen. Take care, bro.